Hey guys, welcome back to the second YouTube video in this OSAP series, and today I'm going to chat about the lessons that I had learned from the mistakes that I had made, that my friends had made, that literally cost us tens to thousands of dollars. I know usually people say tens of thousands of dollars, but no, it's tens to thousands of dollars for me right now. To give a bit of background on myself, my name's Lana. I'm majoring in finance with a dual minor in economics and computer science, and during my undergrad studies, I had the opportunity to work at a bank for 2.5 years. And having worked at the front line, you learn a lot from other people's experiences, and you can tell a lot of a person by how they handle their finances. So I was able to see the financial consequences of those who weren't financially responsible, either because they didn't have the financial knowledge, or I was able to see people who were really doing well with their finances because they had solid financial knowledge. I learned a lot being a student myself while trying to juggle school, while trying to juggle making friends. And I wanted to share all these lessons with you guys so that you don't make the same mistakes that I had made, so that you can make the best of your experience going into university or college or an apprenticeship. So let's start with OSAP and let's get into this video. So the first lesson that I learned was that your RESP does not affect how much OSAP you are to receive. And this is a big deal because before RESP did affect it. So if you are lucky enough to have a registered education savings plan and during your undergrad you're able to receive it, then usually you're decently okay for getting your tuition covered. I was lucky enough to have it, and because I thought I had it, I didn't need to apply for OSAP because I wouldn't get that much money anyways. But later did I find out that recently the rules changed, and no matter how much you're getting in RESP, if you're still eligible, which means that if your family income is within a certain bracket, then you're still able to get OSAP. And this leads me to my second lesson, which is even if you think you'll have enough for your tuition, apply for OSAP anyways. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of the times students are still eligible to get OSAP even if they have enough money for funds. And I understand that some people just want the system to be the way it is. No, they don't want to play with the system, and it's totally fine. But there is something called time value of money that business students learn. And basically the value of your $1, for example, is not the same as the value of your dollar the next day. So if you get $1 today, it's not going to be the same value as it is tomorrow. And I say tomorrow as in a way of saying that in the future. And this is because, one, of inflation, and two, because you're able to invest the money to earn some interest. And I'll get into investments in a second. But basically, if you think you have enough for school, apply for OSAP anyways. You never know what you're going to get. Even if it's grants, amazing, you get to keep it. If it's loans, then you would have to repay it, but you can probably earn a fair dollar on it before you have to pay it back. Because there is no other time in your life where for a few years, if you're still in school, you will get an interest-free loan. Trust me on that. Credit cards don't count because they have a very short grace period. But yeah, no other time in your life will you ever get an interest-free loan, so take advantage of that. So the third lesson that I want to share was being able to invest your OSAP funds. So even if you're able to get, for example, what we call a GIC, which is a guaranteed investment certificate, basically you're able to get your principal plus some interest back. So let's use some numbers here. So let's say you have $1,000 to invest, and you got that $1,000 from your OSAP loan. So in the next few years, when you graduate, you do need to pay that loan back. But currently, for the few years until then, you don't need to use that money whatsoever. So you want to put it towards a GIC. Let's say the GIC was earning you 5% annual compounded interest. So by the end of the, let's say, 4 years that you invested for, you're looking at $1,215.51. So let's say at the end of the 4 years, you do need to pay back the $1,000 that OSAP had provided you as a loan. You still get to keep the $215.51 because that's the interest that you have earned, which is pretty good for the amount that you didn't need, and it beats inflation, which is something that I would talk about in another video. But that's a very blessed situation that no one is able to get again after graduation. And the fourth lesson that I learned is to always make sure you keep up to date with OSAP. OSAP is going to send you messages asking you to update your income, And a lot of students, they just leave OSAP once they get the funding, and then they go back to it whenever they have to pay it off and when they have to reapply for funding. But guys, I'm serious about this. Pay attention to OSAP, because if you don't, then when you apply for funding the next year, you will likely have a bite in your butt. Say, for example, you change your programs or you change your course load and you don't let OSAP know. This happened to my friend, and they were trying to reapply for OSAP for the following year, and they found out that they were not able to get funding because OSAP said that you didn't update us on your program change or your course load changes, and he got basically restricted. So that's a few $1,000s lost, and he had to hustle money to get to put together to pay off the tuition. So always be careful. Always keep up to date with what OSAP needs. Okay, so the next lesson is about co-op. And for any of you guys who are in a co-op program or want to get into a co-op program, then this is very applicable for you. So there are essentially two types of co-op programs in post-secondary school. Either it is you are automatically accepted into the co-op program when you're accepted into the program as a whole, so when you're going into first year, or you would get accepted into a program and then it has a co-op option and you have to get into that co-op option. So for myself, it was the latter. And essentially, after getting into my co-op program, I realized that my OSAP, well, actually, no, I didn't even realize this, but when I was applying for OSAP, I applied for the 8 months rather than the 12 months because I thought that I was not going to be in school for the remainder 4 months of the school year, because a regular school year is from September until April. And so when I got into co-op, I was really happy, and I didn't realize that when you go into co-op, so let's say you have spring till April, and that's your study period, and then co-op comes, and that is during the summer term, so like May till August. And when I went to co-op, my interest started accruing on my OSAP loans, which was baffling because I thought that because I still am a student, it is a co-op program with the school, I thought that my interest wouldn't accrue. And so I realized that you actually have to fill out a form called the interest-free status continuation form, and it's available on likely your school's financial website. And I was quite upset because I was not aware that I had to fill out this form, and nobody really told me about it. That's one thing that you learn in university or college. Nobody tells you anything unless your friends are nice enough or you find out yourself. And I found out the hard way, which is why I'm sharing this information with you guys now. Make sure that you fill out the continuation of interest-free status form if you are going into co-op. So anyways, I paid down my student loans because I was really freaked out. I didn't want to earn interest already. And so after paying it all off, I realized during my second co-op term that if you had applied for, even if you didn't apply for the interest-free status form and you get interest accrued, if you go back to school, for example, the next term, then the interest amounts accrued get wiped from your student loan. And so that upset me as well because I didn't realize that. And so then I realized that I paid like thousands of dollars down on my student loan, and I didn't have to. So basically I'm getting at two lessons here. If you are going into co-op and you applied for OSAP for the 8-month term, which doesn't include your co-op term, then you want to make sure that you fill out your interest-free status form. But it's okay if you didn't, because even if you didn't, then you can still get that interest wiped off, but that's only if you go back to school afterwards. So basically I'm getting at, fill out that interest-free continuation form just in case. Now, for the first scenario I talked about how if you were accepted into your co-op program automatically, like you're going into it when you're going into first year, then you would be able to apply for OSAP for 12 months. So you could state that you will be in school from September, let's say 2020 till September of 2021, because your program has a co-op program in it. Like automatically, you were accepted into that co-op program originally. It's not like you had to try out to get into a co-op program. So the next lesson is understanding the implications of a student loan. So I mentioned this in my first video about myself not understanding how it would affect my credit score, how it would affect me getting a mortgage or a car loan in the future, how it would affect basically anything that involves getting a good interest rate. But basically, I wish that I knew how much it would affect my credit score, and it wouldn't affect it too much as long as you paid it down on time. So all I'm saying right now, guys, is that if you have student loans, and as much as you are able to pay it off, please do pay it off. The last lesson I want to share with you guys is not to pay back your OSAP all at once like I did, because your money that you use to pay down your OSAP, if you pay it down all at once, that could be used at a much better place. And I say this only if you're looking to either purchase a different investment. Let's say you're putting money towards another course you want to take that's not within your college or university course requirements. And basically, interest charged on your OSAP loan decreases in value every single year because of time value of money. So there's something called good debt and something called bad debt. Bad debt a lot of the time includes credit card debt. And good debt is essentially the amount that is being accrued, but you're using it to work towards something. So, like for example, like I use you putting money towards a course. So that is not to say that you should not be paying down your debt at all. That is not to say that you should be paying the minimal amounts. But if you are able to pay as much as you can, as long as it's not within, a short time frame and you pay off all of it, then I personally believe it would benefit you more if you put those funds that you would have put into your OSAP somewhere else that would grow your money, grow your funds. Because if the interest that is currently getting accrued on your OSAP loan, let's say, is 2% every single year, and you compare that to an investment that is growing 3% every single year, well, obviously you're going to earn more on that investment, right? You'd rather put the loans into that investment. And that's a wrap for the last video in this OSAP series. Hopefully this was very helpful, because I wished that I had a video like this when I was going into university. So if you learned anything from this video, share it with your friends, and I will see you in my next video.